Hey everybody, Alec Tackmann here. We're looking at GoAndPractice Book 2, page 41, and this is the Rudiment v. Flamacue. This is the one whenever I show it to a new student, they always think, barbecue? What is this? This is kind of another one of those rudiments that just gets a gibberish name and then we gotta sit and repeat it all the time. The Flamacue is also kind of another one that it doesn't have like a mathematical pattern breakdown to it like the paradiddles do. It's just kind of this old-fashioned lick that I think showed up in a lot of old snare drum pieces. We gave it a name and now it's part of our vocabulary. So the Flamacue, this is a very difficult one to play. Basically, there's 5 strokes, a flam on the first and fifth ones. You have to alternate. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we accent on the second stroke. And that's the tricky part. So to get this done right, there's a couple things we need to do. Firstly, make sure you're playing the correct type of flam you have to play, whether it's a right or a left. Don't cheat this one. Most people tend to favor a right or a left flam. And if you try to, if a piece calls for a right flam and you're like, I'm a little bit at the left and just sneak it in there, that's going to cause you more harm in the long run. It's easy at slow speeds to get away with that, but once you want to start building any speed, you got to be honest with yourself and make sure you're playing the correct right or left flams in your music. The other part of this is getting used to what's happening with beat 2. So if we break this down slowly, I'll just do number 1, a right-handed Rudiment. It's a right flam, left hand accent, and then we finish it off. What we got to do here is look at the left hand's job. It does the grace note of the first flam, and then the accent. So it's going from a very soft note to a very loud note. And that's what's going to kind of set your speed limit on this rudiment, is how quick you can get that whipping motion. So that's going to be helped by learning to play an inverted double stroke roll. An inverted double stroke roll is, I think, it's one of probably the only things in music I would give the title of like a kind of a secret weapon. We all know you got to be able to play the metronome, all that stuff, learn your rudiments. But the inverted double stroke roll I think gets overlooked often. If you haven't seen my video on that one, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd one of this series. So please go check that out. That's a very important rudiment for getting this stuff down. In essence though, what it is getting used to playing doubles, and accenting the second stroke. Everything's just displaced slightly. And we're going to use one of those at the beginning of this Flamacue. Another trick here is I'm using a little bit of a molar whip, and that's from the molar stroke, spelled M-O-E-L-L-E-R, if you haven't heard of it. So basically what's going on here, I won't turn this into a molar lesson video, but while I'm playing the grace note with the left hand, my left wrist is already on its way up to provide the whipping motion of that accent. So it already begins here. The stick is still low, the tip down here, but my wrist is getting ready for the second accent. All right, so number 1 is just playing a bunch of right-handed Flamacues in a row. Rest. All right, number 2 is the same thing, but backwards. 3 and 4 are playing the Flamacue as a 3/4 rhythm. So a Flamacue is 3 beats long, 1, 2, and 3. But we play a bunch of them over and over in 4/4 time. You get 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2. You just want to get the hang of that. Yeah, this is a funky little rudiment, but for me, what forced me to get good at this, just kind of like the 7-stroke roll I talked about in that video, is the old snare piece Crazy Army, made famous by Steve Gadd. This thing is loaded with Flamacues, and I remember when I first heard it, I just thought it was a flam on the 2nd stroke. It almost sounds like the same thing, but it's not. You gotta get the flam on the first stroke. So anyway, let's check out number 5 and 6. So if you're looking at number 5, you might at a first glance think, okay, well, why the heck is this shuffle beat written in here? But this is, again, some of the inner workings of this rudiment. If we take a Flamacue played like exercise number 3, we split our hands onto 2 different surfaces and listens to the rhythm that we're playing, we'll notice you're just playing a shuffle. That's all that's going on. So really, you got to be able to do that with either hand first. Which, by itself, learning a shuffle groove is a hard thing to do. We have to have that snap of the wrists of the inverted double stroke. But here it is hidden inside a very common rudiment. All right, so number 6 is the same rhythm, but we're using what's called a hemiola in music. We're taking that same pattern, which was a triplet beat, triplet, 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 and we're putting over 16th notes, 1 E, a 2, and a E-N with the accents in the same spot. This is going to be a huge brain teaser. But you're thinking 1 E, a 2, and a E-N for E, a 1, E-N. Count that one very carefully. It's the exact same idea, though. You don't need to know how to count number 6 to play this rudiment well, but it's just another way to think of it. So from there, the rest of the page is just Flamacues played in 16ths, a little bit faster. Go ahead and mess with those. But this is one you got to be honest with yourself on it and play the stickings correct, practice it right. I know it seems like a silly, weird rudiment. It seems like what's the point of this? But it's in a bunch of traditional snare drum pieces, and you got to know how to do it. And once you get handy at it, you can make some cool stuff out of it. Just getting used to that little extra after effect there, accenting on the E of the beat, 1 E and a 2, or if you want to call it the and or whatever. So anyway, that's the Flamacue. One of the most bizarre rudiments, I think, in the traditional lineup. So if you have any questions on it, please let me know. Thanks again for checking out the videos. I muchly appreciate everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.